Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Ariyana is an acclaimed belly dancer based in Honolulu, Hawaii. Her love for the music of Egypt is evident in the joy she brings to her dance, and audiences love her subtle cinematic style. Her dedication to presenting the dance as appropriately as possible has made her a favorite at client events, restaurants, and festivals. Without further ado, it is my utmost pleasure to introduce to you Ariyana.
Aloha.
Aloha! So, you're calling in from the island Oahu.
Yes.
And how long have you been there?
I've been here since 2015. There was a brief 10-month moment of living in Central Washington, but roughly almost 9 years here.
That's crazy and so wonderful. I don't know. I have like island envy.
Yeah, it's yeah, you get it. Even I have it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should go to the beach because you're like, when you move here, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the beach every day. But then you're like, oh, it's
real life.
Like 4 months since I've been to the beach, and it's only like a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're not dancing, because I know you through the dance community right now, I just wanted to give also our listeners and YouTube watchers a little idea of what you do when you're not in the world of dance. What's your muggle vocation?
Oh, my muggle vocation is social media management and virtual assisting. I've been doing that since 2016, since my kids were born. So I'm also a mother of two, and also, I guess what you call soccer mom. I'm a cool soccer mom.
I know. You are. You're freaking cool.
Yeah, thank you. And usually that's like downtime and get outside and get the vitamin D because I'm usually inside working. But on the weekends, usually we do a lot of active stuff. We like to go hiking. We do go to the beach. We go bike riding. So yeah, we try to stay active on the weekends.
Yes. So now your fraternal twins?
Identical.
Identical. They just celebrated their 7-year birthday.
Yes.
So congratulations on your 7 years of the mama.
I know, 7 years of survival. And if you ask me how I do it, I'm going to say I don't know. I just play a mom that's got it together on TV.
Yes, my twins are 24. And so audience, Ariyana was sharing with me that they didn't know that she had twins until her 3-month ultrasound. I went through IVF and I also had twins, and we knew they were there from the very day that they were implanted. The whole being pregnant though is very similar because your body goes through all those changes that no one talks about. I mean, I read so many of those pregnancy books. They still didn't explain really what's happening in your body, right? Shall we give them the lowdown? Shall we tell them what really happens to your body when you're pregnant?
I don't want to downplay it. It is like a really cool, scary thing to go through. You learn a lot about your body, and you're like, how is my stomach not falling off? Like, I want to know the mechanics, because we didn't have mirrors except in our bathroom, which is like a medicine cabinet. So I had no idea how big I was until someone took my picture at work.
Yeah.
They're like, do you know how big you're? I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, my pregnancy is not like everyone else's. It was pretty uneventful. There was maybe one or two times where I was like, ooh, what's going on? But they don't tell you like you get aches and pains and definitely slow down. And my question was, is gaining this much weight okay? And it was, sometimes I felt like I was really, I mean, my doctors were great up to a point, but I really felt like in the dark about things. My sister also she has fraternal twins. So she was like a really great resource, mostly, maniacally laughing at me or like, oh, just you wait, and she's also a pediatric nurse. So it was nice having that family member who also went through it and then can kind of also guide me through like anything, like, is it normal? Even though I had doctors, it was nice having a family member say, oh,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, so before we even talk about birth, right?
yeah,
The shifts in center of gravity,
mm-hmm,
the fact that if if I did not have a strong sense of body before I got pregnant,
mm-hmm,
and then literally losing connection over control. Not that we ever had control, but it was it was
yeah,
the misinformation I had control, and then getting pregnant on top of it
mm-hmm,
and watching your body change and morph in ways I could barely understand,
yeah,
right? And then all of a
mm-hmm,
sudden, there's a picture, and my stomach's like 24 inches out. And I'm going,
mm-hmm,
that's me? And it
yeah,
doesn't even feel like you. And your feet are swelling, and the clothing.
mm-hmm.
I did get some really, really cool maternity clothes, I gotta say. We went a
I
little
still
high
wear
end,
them.
right? They're so comfortable, right? And so,
I know.
I your specialty is working with women who are postpartum. Are there, before we get to that
Mm-hmm.
topic, could we just give someone who might be listening who's pregnant, either in like the first, second, or third trimester, what's some tips for them to, move and still feel in their bodies? Because so the caveat is, if you're an athlete who continued to dance or work
Mm-hmm.
out during your pregnancy, where we don't know about what you can and cannot do. So we're going from a beginner person who happens on this podcast, and they're like, "Oh, I just found out I'm pregnant." And Jenny
Mm-hmm.
talks about dancing the heel. What's safe for me? So what are some tidbits, like just one or two pointers for first, second, and third trimester you would recommend,
Okay.
Ariana?
Well, like definitely first talk with your doctor about what type of exercise may be okay because everyone's first trimester, like I said, and everyone's pregnancy is going to be different. So definitely talk to your doctor throughout every trimester. And then um, with movements, it's really about like with me, it was really trial and error. And it was like, yeah, that hurts. Like I think of one as the hip twisting, where you do it really quick. And I was like, yeah, you really have to listen to your body and really stop if something hurts. Or if you just don't feel comfortable doing it, then I would advise not doing it. And that's really for all trimesters. And you don't, I was stubborn at points. Don't be stubborn. Like, no, I'm going to do it, but just kind of let your body lead the way and do what you feel comfortable doing and that your doctor says is okay to do. And then it's really like a huge lesson in listening to your body. I think that's like the biggest thing I could say for every trimester because our bodies keep changing through each trimester. So it's really just adapting and being okay that, okay, I can't do this move right now. That's okay. But maybe there's something else I can do besides that. So,
Oh, I love that. I love
yeah.
that. I would love to add to that caveat,
So,
walking is free.
yep.
Walking with a soundtrack is free.
Yep.
Because as your body weight shifts, your center of gravity shifts, you
Mm-hmm.
want to practice that and get used to the shifts. I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely continue walking with safety, of course, right?
Yeah.
If it's very hot out, be aware of it. If it's
Mm-hmm.
very cold out when you're watching this cold, be aware of your body doing so many different things as it's growing. The baby, zzz, for us it was zzz, but the baby, if you have one embryo versus double or triple,
Mm-hmm.
be aware your body's doing multiple functions.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, oh, I have to get everything done before I have the babies. It's time to slow down.
Yeah, that's the best thing. Like, slow down because when the baby is born, it's just things are just constantly happening and you have to roll with it. So, like, yeah, slow down.
Savor.
Yeah, savor.
Savor being able to use the restroom by yourself. Savor your meals where you can
Hmm.
sit through it and eat hot food. I don't think anyone
Sleep.
explained that to me. Like sleep has much has I know some people like, well, I gotta get my degree done. I'm not making any judgments, but I'm just saying
Hmm.
outside of that, give yourself opportunity to bank up on energy and rest
Hmm. Yeah.
because as you're making the babies, right, it's actually sucking a lot of energy you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
So please, please really make the time to rest. And anyone else telling you otherwise, we tell them poo, poo to you. Because,
Yeah.
sorry, you're making a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, that's great you say that. You really don't become aware of everything that your body is doing. And it's like after childbirth, then you realize like, wow, now that it's done, my body's like, oh.
We can make faces of what your body's going through. It's like, or it's pregnant, and then as you get big,
Yeah.
what, and then when you have birth,
It's like, oh,
like
yeah.
real talk, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I am a mom. One of my identities is mom. I love my kids. I homeschooled my kids. I raised them.
That's
They're
awesome.
still home. I'm a very, very involved mom. And at the same time, like real talk, I kind of wish I had been given the small print
Hmm.
before I
Hmm.
got pregnant because
Yeah.
it's just right. And we joked in our family about my husband being the firstborn son,
Hmm.
right? And he's been neglected for many years because we really had to put the kids at the forefront for so long,
Yeah.
right? And now I'm remembering to role model for them how to do self-care. And
Yeah.
they're old enough to not to see. So let's do more real talk because once the babies are born, they never tell us about postpartum, like the real stuff. And oh, I have a question for you because
Yeah.
one of the things I really love about you posting in your social media about is diastasis recti,
Yes.
which is the separation of your abdominals when you're pregnant, right?
Hmm.
And I was never told to do exercises to be aware of it. And then when I had my babies, never realized I had a 4 centimeter separation for over
Oh,
25
wow.
years.
Hmm.
So I didn't know. I'm thinking, I'm just lazy. Why am I getting fat? Why is my stomach expanding? Having no clue that is because I was pregnant with twins and my stomach was out to my knees.
Hmm.
Yes, so for a lot of our viewers and listeners, I just wanted them, is there anything that they can do during pregnancy that wouldn't endanger the baby and still have them be in touch with their abdomens as our hormones are spreading them?
Yeah. I think for me, like I really wish like I don't know if I can mention her name. Is it okay if I mention
Yeah.
Nancy Anderson.
Yes.
Shaharazad recommended her to me, and she has a really great ab workout and for people with diastasis recti, urinary incontinence, all the awesome stuff that happens
Yeah.
to your body going through. I mean, childbirth is a trauma almost to your body. So do like I would look for a program after consulting your doctor that is good. I really like that one for anyone who's pregnant because they do say as long as your doctor says it's okay, you do want to build up that strength because it can help you move towards healing your body much quicker if you have that base set. So, I mean, Kegels, they're pronounced different ways, I guess. Those are great, but there's a lot of other things we can do because that's not the only area of the body that needs to be strengthened. Your entire body needs to be strong in order to help it heal as a whole. So definitely looking for a program that can help you. That's good for people who are pregnant, and then you can also continue it postpartum.
Okay, I have a question before we go into the postpartum. So
Yeah.
because like, we have multiple births, right? Some OBGYN will automatically give an episiotomy. So trigger warning, it's pretty intense what I'm about to explain to you. Sometimes when they're afraid that you're going to come to complications, at least that's the rationale that the doctors say we're delivering your baby, they'll make a snip in the area between your delivery opening and your
Oh
butthole.
yeah. Hmm.
They make a little snip to make the opening wider. And they did
Hmm.
that for me. And it was extremely painful for the recovery. And then my doctor at the time, I'm going to try and keep this PG. I made it a little tighter. Literally, I made it a little bit tighter so that it'd be okay for you and your husband. Dude, I put two grapefruits through this private middle hole. I don't
Yeah.
care. Like, can we just heal it? So I'm just explaining to you.
Yeah.
Normally in normal childbirth, they're afraid it's gonna rip. So
Hmm.
they'll make the snip. And just be aware that you discuss with your delivery doctors what your options are. I didn't even know to ask. So they just went in and snipped it because they deliver my hospital was a multiple birth specialist in New York. So they
Okay.
automatically do it because they didn't want my stomach, my whole uterus to go into contractions and
Mm.
and end up having a C-section. That was the rationale 25 years ago. Because
Okay.
my first baby was delivered naturally, and then they snipped and then pushed out the second baby before I went into contractions again. So there's a medical aspect to it for multiple
Hmm.
births that we have to be aware of.
Yeah.
However, why am I going into this long-winded thing is, are there exercises that you can do to avoid that? Because that is, I know that is related in some way to like the urinary incontinence and,
Hmm.
because you lose like feeling down there after.
Yeah. Well, I don't know of any exercises that can prevent that because even with a C-section birth, you can still have the urinary incontinence because your bladder has been having this pressure on it for so long. And then when that pressure is gone, your bladder's like, I don't know what to do anymore. So,
The faces, you're like,
it's basically what it's doing. I don't know what to do with myself. Um,
mhm.
of course, like, you know, it's so I have heard that whether it's a natural or C-section birth, you will have the bladder will have some time getting used to not having that pressure. So I think basically any type of like Kegel, abdominal, transverse abdominis, what do I want to call it? There's so many words coming in my head right now. Your glutes. Your glutes, the thighs, inner thighs, outer thighs, hamstrings, just like strengthening that as a whole is going to help you get to a recovery point of that all being weakened.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about that. So, let's say, okay, we birthed the baby, right? And let's talk about that postpartum. Let's let them know what that first week, month is like.
Okay, for me, I mean, I'm just going to be transparent. It was uncontrollable urination. And I'm like, what is wrong? I can't even hold it. My doctor was really great, but when I called them and said after like a week, I can't stop myself from peeing. It's just like, oh, my bladder's like, you gotta pee, and it just pushes out.
Yeah.
They basically said, just do Kegels, it'll get better. And I'm like, I'm never gonna stop peeing ever again. This is just my life, and it's just gonna. And it wasn't until like after about 2 weeks, I didn't do the Kegels, but I tried to do them when I could because when you're a parent, there's so much like you're healing your body is like the last thing on your mind.
You got two babies that don't talk. Like,
Yeah,
how do you figure what they
exactly.
want? They just scream
Exactly.
and poop.
And you're like, well, just wear a pad and I will just pee
Yeah.
myself because I just can't deal with it right now.
Yeah.
And then like when I saw my PCP and they got me to physical therapy, it's like, well, Kegels are the stepping point, and then there's all this other stuff you have to do to handle it. So I was like, your doctor, if they just tell you to do Kegels, you need to find another doctor and get another opinion and try to get physical. Well, they're going to assess you on whether physical therapy is a good route or surgery. So you want to do that because urinating yourself isn't normal.
It's not.
It's
It's
not.
not.
And
You should have control of being able to pee, folks. Listen really carefully. Okay, this is
yeah,
not normal. It's not
yeah,
something we have to live with after becoming a parent and like, having baby.
yeah. And once, I mean, just don't like beat yourself up about it if like in the first year, because that is a really, I don't even remember it because
Yeah.
it was just like, it was just constant. But you do, and once you get that gist of stuff, you do want to start thinking about, okay, I need to heal my body. And you don't have to do it right after 6 weeks, when the
Oh,
doctor gives you the okay.
oh,
You can always, there's a lot of things you usually can always heal yourself later on. So again, I'm not saying push your own needs back to the back burner, but you do want to remember like, okay, like what are some things I can do to start healing myself so that I can be more present for my kids.
yeah.
You
Make sure you have a support system set up,
know?
y'all, because you need your sleep. And,
Yeah.
depending on what your partner's doing, my husband was called the hairy mother. So he would leave the house and work from 7 to 7. The first month, we were able to hire someone to
Hmm.
come in for 12 hours. We ran out of money after a month because we just didn't have the cash to keep paying them.
Hmm.
There was this amazing person named Sunshine. She was from Jamaica. So she came in from 7 to 7 and she would essentially keep me company so I could breastfeed my twins, and she would do all the house chores, the food, cooking, so that when my husband walked in the door at 7, he walked in the door at 6:30. So he had 30
Hmm.
minutes to shower, eat his food, and then he was on duty at 7 so I could catch my breath.
Yeah.
And then after a while we couldn't afford her anymore, and then
Hmm.
I had to tackle it, and it was
Yeah.
really overwhelming because I didn't actually realize, y'all, and this is truth talk, I don't know if you went through this. I definitely had postpartum depression,
Hmm.
so I had a hard time actually looking at my babies in retrospect, thinking back over it, and feeling anything towards them. I was just kind of like on automatic pilot trying to just keep them alive because
Yeah.
I
That,
was so worried, right? So worried that they
yeah.
were going to like die in their sleep, or I was going to be a negligent parent, and
Hmm.
I was breastfeeding. Are they getting enough? They were fat. They were huge, but yet people
Yeah.
are asking me, "You're breastfeeding. Are they enough?" I'm like, they look like dumplings with little
Yeah.
arms. What do you mean? Are they getting
Are they getting
enough?
enough?
I am shriveling away. Why don't you ask
Yeah.
about me? That type of things.
Hmm.
So I would really ask if you can keep, there are a lot of horror stories on that. Am I an asshole?
Oh yeah.
Reddit, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I just had my baby. My in-laws want to come and expect me to host a party. Okay, officially, your in-laws are buttholes because
Yeah.
after making a baby, the only people visiting should be the ones asking to clean your house, make you meals, do shopping for you.
Yeah.
I don't mind being the poo-poo head, and anyone's mad at me, deal with it. Because
Hmm. Hmm.
not enough talking. New moms need all the support. This is where
Exactly.
it takes a village to help a new mom. It is
Exactly.
like this is should be regular knowledge for our
Hmm.
whole world, right?
Hmm.
Not so much in the Western world. However,
Yeah.
my point is make sure you have that, and then for the movement part, go back to the walking. Your
Yeah.
baby needs to start, the air anyways.
Hmm.
Granted, I had twins, and then when we had to let go of Sunshine, it was however long they slept. That was my walk. So they slept 20 minutes, 20-minute walk. Of course, it was more 10, right? Because it was 5 minutes to get them out the door in a double
Yep.
stroller walk.
Hmm.
They would start to cry. I would try and walk faster. They would still wake up, screaming into the house, pop them on the boob. Yay, 10 whole minutes. Give yourself grace, right,
Yeah.
Ariana? And then what are some things that's going to physically be changing for them? I know, what if a new mom doesn't have time to see a doctor and get
Hmm.
the official diagnosis with the physical therapist? Other than the online program you recommended, what are some things they could try besides sign up for your online classes? I'm about to put that link for them.
YouTube, again, I think I will say YouTube was a great source for me. I was always active, always doing exercises, and then knowing what was okay. And it was really because at that time I was really listening to my body and what felt good. So walking. I was walking all the time. and I had to take two kids and the dog. So so it was going for walks. That was like I mean, walking is great for anybody, any gender, any age. Walking is awesome. Um, and just I would just say walking is like the best thing you can do. And it's something that you can put the kids in a stroller. You can, if you have one, you can put them in a carrier and just go for a walk, even if it's 10 minutes, because every week they say you should get like 150 minutes, I think it is, a week. So if I mean, just 10 minutes a day if that's all you can do, then that's the best. That's the best. Don't worry about like, I didn't get my 150 minutes or I didn't do cardio. It's like, for me, there's a lot of great 10-minute tutorials on YouTube, and I use those. So, because it's like 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. That's all I got. Even now, it's like 10 minutes. I have 10 minutes to do this, and they're the best things that for me. But definitely walking, no matter what. And I don't do anything. It's just walking.
Yeah, my only caveat also is add a little soundtrack to the back of it, because sometimes I do love the sounds of nature, but I'm much more motivated by a little bit of music in the background to keep me going. Another thing I would highly recommend is find community. It's very lonely as a mom in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And you want to make sure you connect up with other moms who are either experienced or going through the same thing as you. Be sure trust your gut, right? Because sometimes you can connect up with moms that really don't have the same ethics and values as you. So it's okay to be like, oh, this isn't going to work out for me, and then kind of ghost them and find some other people. You need to find people that are going to support you.
Exactly.
You need the community. That's super important.
One thing I do want to recommend, check out your parks and rec, your local parks and recreation. Tons of free classes. I actually went on there recently, and there's a free walking club, and they just meet up, and there's beginner and intermediate. One is 1 hour long, one is 2 hours long, and I'm like, that's such a. And I actually thought about doing it because that would be great to talk to other adults.
Yes.
And I like walking, and I can bring the dog. And it's nearby. So definitely check, if you don't have the money, check out your local parks and recreation, because there's tons of free things you can try, even mommy and me classes.
Yes.
So it's definitely something to look out for.
Absolutely. It was a lifesaver for me to find doula class. Well, what is it? Shoot, I was a counselor. Oh, why am I spacing? It's a non-for-profit that helps you breastfeed.
Lactation consultant?
Yes, La Leche League. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
So La Leche League, I went when I was pregnant, and one of the stories that they told was a woman who had twins, and she put them in one of those U-shaped pillows, and had them double latch on while she was eating. And even though it was a funny story at the time, I actually ultimately ended up doing that because whether you're bottle feeding or breastfeeding, those babies eat a lot, and you still have to supplement yourself to keep up with them no matter what. And it's super important to do that. And the La Leche League, going to meetings and meeting up with other people, helped me feel as if I wasn't alone. So anytime I had questions, because I was getting all kinds of infections and things like that, I didn't know what was going on. What am I doing wrong? And there were always another mom. I was like, no, let me try this. Let's try that, and a doula is someone that's super important for you to get in touch with. I would look those up because they're trained to help you latch the baby on if that's something you really want to tackle. Because sometimes, not for nothing, lactation specialists are wonderful, and some of them need more training on how to latch on. All right? I had some friends tell me kind of horror stories during COVID lockdown, people not wanting to come in and not successful latching on breastfeeding relationships with their babies. So I would wish for you, right, that it's a choice, not a lack of education or support that you couldn't breastfeed or chose to, right? So we're running out of time, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to have you come back, Boo.
Sure.
And here's the thing, the biggest thing is that we got into this huge conversation, you're all about this episode is more of an introduction to understanding how in your lifetime we're reinventing and finding a connection with our bodies. The specific words that I really loved we're fostering a better relationship with your body.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a hard time battling the image of how quickly our celebrities bounce back on social media. I mean, they have all that money to hire a personal chef, a personal trainer, someone to take care of all the other activities besides being a newborn's mother. And so we want to make sure that the audience understands there's got to be a huge part of grace. Like, give yourself grace to figure out what works for you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, try not to, this is easier said than done. Like, just try not to let those negative thoughts that you have about yourself become the prevailing thoughts. Like Jenny said, find support wherever you can find it. Whether it's lactation consultants or La Leche League, a walking group, a mom's group. And, you know, just remembering that it's temporary. You can heal your body at any time when you're ready to do so. And just try, and have grace. I mean, your body just like produced a human. Isn't that's like,
right?
We're not machines. We're organic creatures, and that takes a toll on some people. Some people have more traumatic journeys than others, but give yourself grace. You deserve it, and your body's awesome. I mean, it came out the other end, at least. That's
So viewer, I'm just gonna ask you right now, give yourself a hug, give yourself a big squeeze, and then feel our love and warmth for you coming through, because sometimes you're listening in and I need you to know that we know how lonely it can be on the other end of that speaker. You know, there's community out there for you. And remember one thing, as you come to the end of this episode, if you go into the description, there's going to be a link there for you to access some free classes with Ariyana. And also, if you ever want to check out my new app that is launching for some free classes so you're feeling less alone. Remember one thing too, as we end this wonderful time, we're going to have you come back, okay, my dear?
Yeah, of course.
Remember that as you heal and find yourself and the new you that's emerging, there will be work you may want to contemplate that brings you back to the you that was you before the world got to you. So thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit OutsideInRecovery.com. Are you ready to move?